As more and more candidates make swings through New Hampshire, we're taking the opportunity to give you an up-close look at just who each is and the reactions they're getting from first-in-the-nation voters. Tonight, we're kicking off our series with California Senator Kamala Harris, whose events in New Hampshire this week were her first there since announcing her candidacy. Adam Reilly has more.
Kamala Harris's speech at St. Anselm's Politics and Eggs event was only about 20 minutes long, but it offered some telling clues about how the California senator plans to distinguish herself in a crowded Democratic field. At the outset, Harris channeled John McCain, pitching herself as a radically honest politician.
I believe it is critically important that as leaders we speak truth, with the purpose of not offending or making people uncomfortable, but with the purpose of dealing with issues and inspiring trust.
Among the uncomfortable truths Harris highlighted, the dire reality of climate change, the threat automation poses to American workers, and the fact that the booming economy isn't booming for everyone.
Almost half of American families today cannot afford a $400 emergency.
But Harris's gloss on economics also included a hedge that you won't hear in speeches from, say, Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders.
This discussion, from my perspective, is not about saying, people who have worked hard and gained success should be vilified. I don't believe that. I applaud that.
Also noteworthy in Harris's remarks, a pointed nod to American exceptionalism.
We are a country that was founded on noble ideals, that we are all and should be treated as equals. Part of our strength as a nation is we are aspirational. We fight to achieve those ideals.
In general, Harris's tone and the crowd's response were restrained, though that changed when she started criticizing President Trump.
We cannot continue to have an administration and a president of the United States who puts his vanity projects ahead of the needs of the people of our country.
As a rule, every single New Hampshire resident wants to see every single candidate before they commit, ideally more than once. That said, at this stop on her first trip to New Hampshire, Harris made a favorable impression.
I was struck by her directness, her compassion, her grasp of the issues.
She's clearly having a great time. I think that's important. It's so easy to give in to the darkness of the Trump years and that people really want to believe again.
My primary consideration, I think most Democrats, is can this person beat Donald Trump? I think she's tough. She has a good sense of humor, and I think she'll make him cry.
Adam Reilly joins me now. So we know, first of all, we know in California she had like 20,000 people. Obviously, that's her home turf. What kind of crowds is she getting in New Hampshire?
At this event, it was pushing 200. They said it was about 1.5 times what they had for previous events. Politics and Eggs is just getting started. They were turning people away from her Portsmouth town hall, too. So there's a lot of pent-up demand and eagerness to see her because she hasn't been around that much.
I just talked about Biden and Sanders, but of the new kids, meaning the first-timers, she's at the top of the pack in these, I know, really early, but early polls, yes?
No, I've seen the same ones that you've seen, and she's tied for third in one recent New Hampshire poll, I believe, with Bernie Sanders behind Biden. I think she's second ahead of Sanders in an Iowa poll that came out pretty recently.
Did you see the piece in the New York Times a week or two ago by that law professor, Laura Bazelon?
Yeah.
And essentially she said, she called, and I'm paraphrasing, but Bazelon wrote, she calls herself a progressive prosecutor, former attorney general of California, but she's not. And she lists these litany of things that most progressive Democrats, I don't think, would be perfectly enamored of. Did she talk about any of those?
She only dealt with that really indirectly. A very tough piece, by the way, and I think Harris will need to figure out how to answer the charges. Among other things, Bazelon said that she ignored wrongful convictions, basically, in a really troubling manner. She talked about why she became a prosecutor and about how it was driven by her conviction that lawyers could do good work and the criminal justice system offered tremendous opportunities for reform. She did not rebut any of the allegations that Bazelon made against her, and that's not going to go away.
One last very quick thing. She seems every time I've ever seen her speak on television, unbelievably smooth, poised, measured. Jussie Smollett, she tweeted on day one, it was an attempted modern-day lynching. She's in New Hampshire. A reporter puts a mic in her face and says, well, what do you... She was speechless. She almost had no ability.
That was a tough clip. She kind of, looked around for clarification
what do I do now?
First, and then she laughed, and I don't think the answer she gave is very convincing. That's another thing she's going to need to figure out how to handle.
Adam, thanks. This whole series is really great.
Should be fun.
Really important. Thanks so much.